Lazarus from Tampico, Mexico. Welcome. Michael Shane from Kirtland, Washington. Nikki Dimitri. I'm sorry, Nikki, if we've messed up your name here. Amal Nasaid from Ghani. Christina Estraus from Ghani. John Ivankovich from Hollister, California. Betty Russos from Chicago. Lane Garrick here from LA. Betty and Ann Manaxis from Park Ridge, Illinois. Forgive me if I shoot up your name a little bit, but the good intent is there. On Tuesday, we celebrate the name, the great Saint Andrew, the brother of Saint Peter. When we say brother, we mean that blood brother. They were from the same parents. Saint Peter went and evangelized in the west, and Saint Andrew established the church in the east. That is why his name and his ministry is celebrated in the east, as establishing the great church in Byzantium, which became, of course, Constantinople. So, happy name day to Andrew, Andreas, Andrea, and any other nickname in between. Andy. I think that's it. And I hope that on Tuesday you'll be able to join us for the Divine Liturgy. Today we heard from the Gospel reading about who can go to heaven in kingdoms. And Jesus gave some specific answers, because the person who asked him this question was a very rich man. And knowing our particular appetites and our weaknesses, realized that the rich man's weakness was his idolatry and his excessive love of money. It's true for many people. As I've said to you many times before, we have some multimillionaires in the church, in the community, but their mind is still in World War II and the Depression, and they cannot understand why coffee at Starbucks is $4 when it was only yesterday that they gave 15 cents for it. So, oftentimes, instead of money being an energy to get us to point A to point B, the church certainly asks you for it to turn on the lights, to their expenses. Some people really are obsessed with it, and in so doing, they prevent their ability to see beyond that and to see that all that we have will be owned by someone else. Whether you're Bill Gates or any of the other major multi-billionaires, no matter how gorgeous your tomb may be with marble and polish and so forth, nevertheless, death is the end of the road for all of us. But we always wonder about heaven. That's why sometimes I smile with respect when I see the commercials from Franklin Graham, the son of Billy Graham, who comes and says, "Are you going to heaven?" You know, it's as though, are you going to live a full life? Are you going to be sick? What kind of question is that, are you going to heaven? Notice in our prayer, it is our hope and our desire to go there, but only God has eternal kingdom. What is that expression? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So, the idea of heaven and hell are something that oftentimes in religious circles we manipulate, and we use as a battle axe, as a weapon for religious infighting. Are you saved? Well, if you're not saved, you're going to go to hell. Well, what do I have to do? Well, just kneel here, repeat this prayer of faith, and if you really, really mean it, then you're going to heaven and you will avoid hell. Thank God. But here's a story that I think makes the point. There's a story that says Charlie, call it any name you want, Charlie died one day. And somehow, as he was being prepared for burial, he seemed to wake up. And he looked at himself in this place that was beautiful, perfect weather, flowers and trees. And he looked at himself and he said, I can't believe this. So he says, in this beautiful place, hey, is anybody here? All of a sudden, poof, some of you may remember the story. Poof, poof, these little people pop up with white robes and said, oh yes, there are a lot of us here. He said, well, where am I? And the little people said, well, where you are, you can have anything you want without it, with some few exceptions. With some few exceptions. What can I have? The little person said, well, name it. Well, Charlie was a person who was a worker, blue-collar worker, took his lunch in the lunch bucket every week. He says, I want the most exquisite food and drink and liqueurs and all that I can eat. So poof, 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 the tables were filled with every possible delicacy and sweet. Charlie ate and ate and ate and drank to the point that he couldn't drink or eat anything else. He was so swollen up from the food he ate. Well, what else can I have? Name it, Charlie. You know, I was a very faithful and kind of a boring person when I was a steel worker. I'd like to see some entertainment, some girly type entertainment. So poof, poof, poof. There were all these wonderful entertainers, Las Vegas style music, and all these kinds of things that oftentimes some individuals fantasize about. He got bored after a while and he said, what else can I have? Well, what do you want? I was always a worker and nobody paid attention to me. And I just went to work and that's it. I want to be the boss of some huge industry factory where I can get respect. Poof, all of a sudden there's this factory and limousines and smokestacks, and here's Charlie now dressed in very expensive clothing. And he goes in, good morning, Mr. Charlie, good morning, Mr. Charlie. The limousines are opening doors, going into the big offices, the big desks, and people asking him to sign things and all the things that we imagine the great chiefs of industry would be doing. After a while, he said, I'm bored. You've given me all. I want to do something for myself. Oh, Charlie, that's one thing we cannot let you have. That's an exception. We can't let you have. In that case, Charlie says, send me to hell. so we want to avoid that, and we think heaven will gorge us with all the things we were not able to have here in the world. But in reality, hell can be self-imposed by the exaggerated desires we think we need and want. Some of us come from Greece, and we grew up very poor. I don't want to get into that, but I only have one pair of shoes which my parents would allow me to wear on Sunday to go to church. The rest of the time I was barefooted. And even now when I look at my feet and I wash them, I still have scars from stepping on sharp stones or glass. But that's the way it was. And so I never would have thought that my family and I would be in the United States and go to a place called Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico. They were pushing immigrants to go to Brazil. I told you this because they wanted European settlers. And my father did not want to go to Brazil. So when they said that here's an invitation from a man called Giovanni Daskalakis from Albuquerque, New Mexico, he said, I wasn't going to go to Brazil. A couple of swear words in between. And I'm not about to go to Mexico. And the teacher there said, no, Sally, this is in the United States. He took a map and he showed, and he pointed to New Mexico. We knew the name Santa Fe from the Western movies we hear. Come on, Santa Fe, bang, bang, you know, that kind of thing. In the movies we used to look and see with the Greek letters underneath. He didn't ask what is the weather like there, what are the job opportunities, what is it like there. I'm going to see, I'm going to research it, and if I think it's nice, I'll go. Immediately, if it was in USA, we were ready to go. So there's an opportunity for us to say, for us, that was heaven. That there are people who are in this country who have every good thing, and they're bored, they're ungrateful, and they live in self-imposed hell. The self-imposed pain and hell for those parents who lost their children because of gang violence, because of rampant shooting, and evil in the streets. I was reading that I think in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, I think it's Philadelphia, up to today, we're not finished with a year, just you have to at least have another month and a half, or rather a month. 500 murders. 500 murders. A man in the SUV who mowed down, as I said earlier this morning, those children. And what does the news media say? An SUV killed 6 children. A gun shot 3 or whatever. Because we are afraid to admit the sinfulness and the evil of certain individuals who have fallen to their own hellish existence. So what is the final line today? We choose. We leave here, we can choose to live heavenly by embracing and loving one another, by controlling our exaggerated desires, and by appreciating and giving thanks for the simple things. Have you ever thought about giving thanks for a good, cold glass of water, where half the world doesn't have that kind of water to drink? Have we thought about how precious it is to have a piece of good bread and butter on it in the morning? Have we thought about all the blessings? And we argue about the shortage of toilet paper. We didn't know what that was when we were in Greece. We didn't know what white bread was. We were buying rainbow bread when we went to Albuquerque, and we ate that as dessert. and that our riches are not just those things in our bank. The Lord didn't condemn wealthy people. His friends were wealthy. He said, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Now, that doesn't make sense. In Jerusalem, at nighttime, all the gates were closed. But there was one small gate that a camel, if it squatted down, could go through. It's called the eye of a camel. That could be controlled so that no invaders could come in large numbers. So it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle in the wall than for an obsessed rich person. Nothing wrong with riches. Nothing wrong with riches. But again, as long as we're not idolatrous and fall down and bow down before them, because the cemetery has a place for all of us, and there is no class action there, no high class, low class, whatever. It's all the same. So let us give thanks to God for our heavenly communion of friends. Let us give thanks to God for the communion we received today as He promised. And let us give thanks to God that indeed we can love one another. Bless you and have a wonderful week. And to those who are Andrea, my beloved Andrea, the last in front, I don't know anybody else named Andrea or Andrew? Somebody? Nobody? Andrea, we're going to have a little tea just for you. So, you're all welcome to the liturgy on Tuesday, Orthodox at 9 o'clock, and the liturgy will be at 10. We will not have our usual Bible study on the internet, but next week we'll continue with that. God bless.